Hi, I'm Michael McNutt, reporter with the Oklahoman's Capitol Bureau. With me is U.S. Senator Jim Inhofe, Republican from Tulsa. He's seeking the election this year. Senator, thanks for joining us.
Well, it's nice to be with you, Michael.
Senator, what are the biggest issues, do you think, in your campaign?
Well, the biggest issues in my campaign are, it's so evident, and yet the outsiders are all talking about it. I think it was on Fox News, they mentioned that the race where they had the most diverse philosophies is out in Oklahoma, because Jim Inhofe is ranked #1, the most conservative member of the United States Senate by the American Conservative Union, and his opponent, Andrew Rice, is clearly the most liberal state senator. So that's the thing that is most noticeable about this race.
Now, you mentioned you're running against Senator Rice, Democrat state senator, just serving his first term in the Senate. What do you think, how do you distinguish yourself from
Well,
Senator Rice?
first of all, and what we had to do, Michael, in the very beginning was to run some ads to show that he voted for all the tax increases and all the government-funded abortions and the against punishment for crime. And actually, we ran one also on the fact that when you remember in '04, we had this amendment to the Constitution. I think it was State Question 711 or something like that. And that was to recognize traditional marriages between one man and one woman in the state's Constitution. He formed an organization to fight that. So he was not just opposed to it, but he was leading the opposition. Now, when you talk about all those extremely liberal views, that's what we have with that particular individual. I'll tell you what's kind of interesting. When he was running for the state Senate, he said, in words to this effect, "My views are not consistent with the views of Oklahoma, but they are with my rather liberal, multicultural district that I'm running for in the state Senate." So there is the biggest difference that's out there.
You know, on the campaign trail, what's been the biggest surprise, good or bad, this year?
Well, you know, I have to say, Michael, that my biggest surprise was, and I know that everyone realizes I'm ahead of him in the polls, and he has to do something pretty dramatic to catch up. But the number of foreign liberal groups, like Boston, Massachusetts, you know this ad that's been on TV where I'm kicking someone when they're down and kicking them in the face and blood spurting and all that. My opponent didn't do that. That was done by a very liberal group in Boston, Massachusetts, that is at 527. So at 527s, they ought to change those things. They can put any amount of money in these races, and that's where he's getting his money. The other ad where they said, "Why does Inhofe hate veterans when I'm the strongest supporter of veterans and everybody knows it?" That was done by a guy named Robert Greenwald out in Hollywood, and he's a very liberal producer out there. So all of the liberal extremists are pouring untold amount of money in this race. That was my biggest surprise. I didn't think they'd do it.
Well, Senator, thanks a lot for joining us.
You're very welcome, Michael.
And be sure to check back on News OK for election coverage. I'm Michael McNutt with the Oklahoman.